going to be a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'm so excited to be able to meet as many of you as possible and share this energy. And one of the things I think that's so powerful about this is that when 10 years ago, to this day, by the way, 10 years ago, January 19th, 2009, I wrote my first blog post. I think it was about a camera or something stupid, but I did write it on this day, and I did it with the intention to have a TV show to help people the way Oprah did. That was like as much as I knew at the time, because I was pretty miserable, and I was like, I gotta figure out a way to be not so miserable. And I bet there's some other people that are unhappy with the way they've been told they need to live their lives too. So I gotta go figure this out for me, because I'm broken right now in many ways. And I wanna figure that out and then help anyone else that's feeling the same struggle. And that blog post was supposed to, at the time, with the old regime in mind, it was like, oh, get this blog thing going so I could get a book deal, so that I could get a TV show. That's kind of, without the blogging part, how Martha Stewart, as an example, got her television show. So I thought this all needed other people to give me permission. They gave me the permission to get the book. Okay, now we're gonna distribute your book. And they gave me permission to give ABC, and then they're like, here are the sponsors, and here's this audience, and here's this, that, and here's the things. Here's what you need to succeed. Instead, that first blog post ended up becoming a 5-year journey blogging half my day, every day, like 5 days a week, pour myself into that for 5 years. That then led to the podcast as a more audio example of what I could do with a show, because writing a blog post is very different than a show. But a podcast compared to a video show, not so different. I could have conversations, I could have a lot more engagement in the direction and content that I wanted to share. 5 years ago to February 6th, 2014, which is when the 7th will be the airing now. So it's like 5 years of blogging, 5 years of podcasting. What I did not realize was that the first blog readers would become the podcast listeners. You know, there's like a rollover, and then that grew further. But what I didn't realize is the podcast listeners would become the TV show audience, which is you. So what I hope this also shows is that this new era of life, consciousness, evolution, humanity going forward doesn't need permission from outside forces. Just like the expert's not outside of you, the permission or the TV show, if you use it as an example, was not outside of me. It was within, showing up every day, doing the best I could in each step along the way. I didn't actually need a contract. There's nothing against those things, but it wasn't necessary. How liberating is that? And now we had zero pressure, because I'm all about flow and alignment. I'm just like, everybody needs to have fun and enjoy it. And that's also different than it would be if I had outside forces trying to rain on and force our parade to be whatever it is. I get to have the autonomy to stay connected to the deepest part of myself, which is truly here to serve you in the best way possible. And I bet you feel that about what I do. I never put you guys before myself, because that would mean I'd have nothing to give. But I always think about, what can I share from what I have that will help you in the best and highest way? And I love that I have no one pushing on me in any direction to stray from that path. No intention to do so. So I just thank you guys so much. This is a huge gift and honor that I get to share with you. And I know that when I go back to the idea of the Oprah show, and I said I wanted to do that, it was never two people sitting in a chair with just a camera. I don't know exactly how I knew this, but I knew the audience is the reason, besides the intentions and the content that she brought to the table, the audience is the third member. Like, you guys, literally, I want to hear your reactions, and when I call out to you guys, which I'm guessing will probably be pretty frequent, I'd love to hear your responses. Obviously, it's kind of a general response, but that is the most powerful thing. The energy of this space is amplified because you're here. I actually, randomly, if you guys want to know, this crystal right here, I carried on a plane, they got checked at security. They're like, so what's this big thing? I'm like, it's a crystal, like, it's not gonna kill anyone, it's just pretty. And what I see it representing is you. So I actually want to be, I keep saying to the girls, I'm like a clear crystal quartz generator. If you get into crystals, and like I have, it's just a frequency holder, and it amplifies the energies of the others. That's all I'm here to do. I'm not here to be a certain persona as much as possible, but just to shine brightly and clearly and cleanly, so that you can find in yourself what you need, right? But if you're able to do this yourselves, just think about this whole little, this is the audience, this is you guys. is amplifying the energy. And when people are watching, and when they're listening, and they're hearing your voices too, that's what gives the tingles. That's where the soul starts to really vibrate. That's where things start to really move. So this is, like I've shared, about you, your inner voice, and the group as a whole supporting and amplifying each other. That's what this is about. And I think that's what society needs at this point in time, is not to look outside themselves and look at the news or look at the doomsday reports. Like, check in, check in, check in, because the well-being that you're seeking is in you. It's not in the world. But if you go to that inner voice, I have yet in the 10 years I've been doing this to find any inner voice that's worried or fearful. And I would ask, if you feel worry and fear in your mind, to ask about those things, and you will find the part of you, not in the world, but in yourself, that has peace. Because the peace isn't in the circumstances. It's within yourself. You just even know how to ask. So that's what today is all about. And I cannot wait to serve you in the best and highest way now, and for whatever way this unfolds from here. So thank you very much. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Only you're actually here now. Wonderful. I'm so excited to work with you guys. And we're going to start this one with the basics. Now, this is inner voice basics. For those that have been listening to the podcast, especially season 5, this will be a bit of a recap. But since this is the first audio show, I want to document it here, because going forward with whatever unfolds, this may be a starting point for new people. So we're going to go through the basics, and we're going to show different people with different points of view and levels of experience with inner voice, and show how they can do it. And as this is happening, what I'm excited for is you guys are going to be able to listen to the questions, and if one of them hits you in your situation, send it down. Ask what you hear. And at the end of each client, or each person that's sitting in the hot seat, we're going to do 2 realizations. So we're going to run that mic in the audience and get 2 realizations. So if something hits you and sparks you, if something in your inner voice just clicks, or if something that their inner voice says resonates for you, we'd love to hear it. We'll take 2 quick realizations, and then we'll put in the new person in the hot seat. So let me quickly give you guys the rundown on the inner voice. I used to call it the intuition, which is great because no one can deny they have an intuition. There's many things around spirituality and religion that talk around these subjects, and then people, because of their associations with those spiritual or religious beliefs, reject the whole thing. But I've never heard anyone say they don't have an intuition or an instinct. So I started many years ago realizing in a breakup that was very, very difficult for me in my mid-20s, that part of myself, actually I found out through Eat, Pray, Love, funny enough, as I ended up having a very Eat, Pray, Love journey later in my life. It was during that book when Liz Gilbert says, if I write down questions, I get peaceful answers. So I was going through a breakup in my mid-20s, and I was like, well, I need some peaceful answers. So I wrote down the questions, and I got peaceful answers. And I kept doing it, and over time, it was only when I was like super freaked out. How many people only write to their inner voice when they're super freaked out, right? But over time, you get to go, oh my gosh, I'm maybe not that freaked out, but I probably could get some answers. And then I started to do it more regularly, and it became a bigger, more stronger practice in my life, and it helped on more subjects than just the breakup. It became, which nail salon should I go to? Or which thing should I order on the menu? Now, you don't have to be obsessive like that, but you can play with it, and honestly, you'll find the results are amazing. And when you take those little things, and if you listen to that inner voice and you choose the option on the menu, or you go to that nail salon, or you choose not to, especially on the little things, and then you find out later, you're like, well, I didn't know that was gonna happen, or that tasted not like what I really wanted, you're gonna start to trust it. So you can do it on the really big things, the level 5 freak out moments, or just the day-to-day mundane things. And especially on the little things, practicing the following or not following it will give you great feedback to start to build trust to this inner voice. But in general, you're gonna see me work with people. I think that's the best way to show it. But what I'm gonna say is that for most people, everybody's different, but for most people, their receptive mode, their listening mode, their ability to hear this, we call it a voice. It's not necessarily gonna sound like, Morgan Freeman coming in your ear, Maya Angelou. It's gonna be more of a knowing, sensing voice. And it may not even be verbal, it might be visual, it might be a feeling, but you can even translate that visual, that verbal, that feeling into a word that we can communicate about, or the sensation we can describe. But it's gonna tend to be down here. Some people are gut, some people are heart, I don't care which one you are, just kind of go with it. Just whatever one comes to your mind. It doesn't really matter. We just want to project your awareness. Your awareness, I kind of say on the show, it's like bobbleheading down. Think of yourself as a bobblehead, okay? We normally are locked in bobblehead mode where it's like the spring has never been used, it's just stuck up here. And so your awareness, if we think of your awareness, it doesn't, but let's just pretend it lives in your neck. So it's normally projecting upwards 24/7 your entire lifetime. Not always, but generally it's focusing up here on the thoughts that are circulating. But when you project down, as I say bobblehead down, you might hear me say that phrase to the person. That's when I notice that they're getting mental, their awareness is getting projected up into the mind and into the thoughts, and that's not where the solution lies. The problem lies up there for sure, but the solution doesn't. So then I say bobblehead down. What I'm saying is project, bring your awareness down into your body. Now for the person that's gut feeler, we're gonna ask them to go a little deeper. For the chest feeler, the heart feeler, it doesn't matter. It's just getting them out of up here. Now, there are a very few exceptions, not like it's rare, but just some people do see or hear it in their head, but it will be a distinctly different experience than the mind. So if you're one of those few that can get it up here, great, but for the average person, and you're gonna see me going down, getting into the body, getting into this part of themselves. And the biggest thing, if you're going, I don't know if I'm doing this right, Jess, ask, did I hear that from my inner voice or not? Just ask a follow-up question. People go, they ask the question, they hear something, or they think they do, they're not sure, and then they let it go. Has anyone ever done that? Yeah, I know. I get the emails about it. So when you're not sure, ask, did I hear this from this voice? Normally what people do is they stop when it's really an opportunity to ask 10 more questions. It's never gonna charge you a dime, and it's never gonna go on vacation, and it doesn't have office hours. It's truly there every single moment of your life to answer things, and it's never gonna run out. Now, you may not need to get more, so it may give you what it gives you in that moment that you're able to receive, and that's what you're allowing at that moment, and that's okay. But it's not a limited resource. Does that make sense? So if you're not sure, don't walk away from it confused. Ask more questions and see if you can either reframe the question, rephrase it, or just keep going, did I hear that from this voice or not? And you might be able to get a yes or no to that, and then keep going from there. So it's not an opportunity to walk away, it's an opportunity to just keep tapping down. And the more you practice it, in different states of emotion too. So if you're in a really freaked out state, that might be easier or harder to hear. And when you're in a calmer state, that might be easier or harder to hear. So just the more you practice, it's like muscle building, the stronger your connections can get. And then overall, of course, if you're starting this, I recommend writing. So writing these down and then listening, and then write down the answers and then listen and write. That's gonna allow you to stay in the receptive mode and document and go back and look at the whole flow of the questioning and the inquiry, which is super helpful. But as you practice that, you can also do it like we're gonna do on the fly. And what's really cool is as you guys are meeting people, you guys could make inner voice groups where you guys ask the questions for each other and allow the other person to stay in receptive mode. Because the flipping, if you're not writing the questions down and documenting it that way, it's a little trickier to stay in the in and out, up and down, like ask the question, inner voice, ask the question, inner voice, and remember what you've now experienced through the whole thing. But it'll get there as you get more practice at it. So to start, working with a partner, so that one person's staying in inner voice, the other person's staying in the mind kind of perspective, that's useful, and also to write it out. So now, let's start with our first person. We have Kayleen. Can we have her come on the stage? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Kayleen, and I live in Austin, Texas. I have 2 kids, and yeah, I've been following your blog and podcast since 2009.
Oh my God, 10 years.
Yeah, I had a blog.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. We've exchanged interviews, I think in 2009, 2010, so it's kind of fun to
Did you have the thing about we can do hard things?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that. She wrote that. Now I'd say personally, I don't think things need to be hard, but.
I agree, but I think
that's where we were at the time.
Yes, totally.
Yes, okay, so how can we help you today with your inner voice, and how familiar are you with using it?
I think I'm pretty familiar in the sense that I've always journaled, but not Dear Diary, but sort of just let the words fall out of me. That's kind of how it feels. When I write, I just sit at my journal and just let things come. So I feel very like connected and centered and grounded when I'm alone, in my closet, sitting on the floor at a coffee shop. Anytime I'm like, or like right now, I feel pretty calm. My question and like the thing I'm working on is when things are not in that peaceful center place. I've got 2 little kids, and we're just in a very operational mode of life right now where we're like doing nap times and bath times and craziness and tantrums and all the things. And so when stuff is like a little bit off the rails in those moments, I feel out of control, and I'm probably like a lot more calm externally than how I feel, but I want to have access to that like centered place, to my inner voice in those moments, and it like just doesn't feel possible.
Can anyone relate?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So all you people out there that can relate, feel free to direct the questions in and let us know any realizations you may have at the end. Okay? All right. So are you a gut or heart feeler?
Heart.
Heart. Okay. So you're just gonna take a deep breath, and I might ask you to exhale a lot. One of the things I find really helpful is like think of the mind when it gets really busy and the thoughts start flying around, the synapses are firing in your neural nets. What it's like, I think of as like little mosquitoes or midges in Scotland. So when I was in Scotland, they said if you walk over a mile an hour, the midges, which are like little mosquitoes, can't bite you because they can't fly that fast. So they would have you walk faster than the mosquitoes, and then the midges, and they couldn't get in your way, and then they wouldn't bother you. Fascinating, because they'll complain about it if you just know that simple technique. Now, the mind can get kind of like those midges, and they start swirling around. What I find the best way to clear it is a deep exhale. It's like literally imagine the little bugs, like think of your thoughts like the little midges. You're blowing them faster than they can sit in their little orbits, their slow orbits. You're blowing it out. So you might notice, and actually that might be a technique you can use with the kids. But exhaling is a really powerful thing. So I'm going to ask you to project your awareness bobbling down, and you'll just get to stay in that mode until I ask you to come back into mind mode. But for now, we're just going to ask the inner voice some questions, okay? And you can just relax your shoulders, and this is the same stuff you guys can do at home too, is relaxing the shoulders, centering your feet on the ground might even be great too, just to kind of feel, getting in the zone, right? It's like all the things your body doesn't want to do when the mind's in charge. Also, your mental tends to hold on to the breath. Another reason to exhale when the thoughts start flying.
Do you think closing your eyes is helpful?
Yes,
or?
I think especially for this right now, for you to go in yourself instead of out in this is perfect. Okay, so let's start with this. Just tell me what you hear, see, sense, experience. And what I want you to do is be an honest reporter. You're not the voice. I just want you to tell me what you're hearing, because if I can communicate as clearly and cleanly to the inner voice as possible, then I'll know I'm getting a direct thing. If your mind's getting in the way too much, then we're getting a muddled response.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I okay?
Yes.
How did that feel to feel that one? We'll check in with this. How did that feel to receive it?
Like up here.
Up here? What was the emotion as you felt that feeling? Am I okay?
Yes.
Okay. Am I safe?
Yes.
All right, so you're getting a sense of what that voice feels like.
Yeah.
All right. What do I need to know about bath time and the hectic times with the kids? Good job with the breathing. Instead of thinking, she just breathed.
That is what it is right now.
Will it be that way forever?
No.
Is it okay that that's the way it is right now?
Yeah.
Why is it okay? It's crazy, it's stressful, it's chaotic. It's not what my mind wants at all.
It's the experience.
What am I experiencing?
Life.
Is it okay to experience life in all of its glory,
Yeah.
even the tantrums?
Yes.
Is it okay if my mind wants to have a tantrum while the child is too?
Yeah.
Why is it okay for my mind to have the tantrum along with the child?
Because we're learning together.
What am I learning? Good job. The fluttering of the eyes, that's another sign that she's in theta, which is a brain state you don't need to know about, but she's receiving.
Ask that again.
Okay, I think I asked, what am I here to learn in this experience with the kids?
To be with them.
What does that mean or look like?
It looks like having fun and flowing with them, letting them lead.
Letting them lead.
Yeah.
How do I let them lead more?
Just watch, listen.
So I'm not
Let
here
them
to
be.
let them be.
Yeah.
In all their glory.
Yeah.
Even the emotional moments.
Yeah.
How about my emotions in those moments?
I heard their mirror.
Am I reflecting their emotions? Or are they
think-
reflecting mine?
I think both.
Is it okay that we're reflecting these, or should that be changed?
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, okay.
The
Beautiful.
so I think I feel like I should always be like calm and centered, but that's like not
Life.
real. Yeah. Yeah, and like if I can't experience that up and down with them, then like how will they know that the up and down is normal or like what we're-
Allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does it feel to the mind to process that?
Good. I kind of think I like thought about it before I came here, and that's sort of like what I was like leaning towards, but it's just hard to navigate like wanting that peace always.
Okay, beautiful. So we found another piece of resistance, right? Or questioning. We are like, but I still have this problem. The mind perceives this to be a problem. Can you say that again? I want to use it to launch.
Yeah, so I want to have that peace always.
Okay, let's do it. Should I always be peaceful?
No.
Inner voice, are you always peaceful?
Oh. Yes and no.
Okay, beautiful. When you get a yes and a no, that means part of it's right, part of it's wrong. Inquire why. How yes? How are you always peaceful?
There's an undercurrent of okay and calm always,
How no?
because it comes in rushes and waves.
So the inner voice has moments of unrest? Good job for breathing out. She's doing a great job. She's showing how this, like she's breathing out, not getting in the head. She doesn't know what the answer is, and that's the beauty. I don't want her mind to have an answer for this. I want to ask questions.
I heard no, but you do. So like.
So it's peaceful, but you are. So let's clarify. Inner voice, is it okay for me as the triad being I essentially am to have moments of unpeace even though you have peace?
Yeah.
Why is that okay if I'm not lined up with you 24/7?
I heard boring.
Boring. You know, Abraham Hicks, for a lot of people know that I like Abraham Hicks. They say, you know, if you want to be in, some people will get on the stage and they go, I want to always feel aligned. Like, I never want to get out of alignment.
Yeah.
And they go, well, then you have to join the non-physical, which we died. Like, you have to cross over. Like, there you go. That's the stable state of positive peace. This part of you is in that stable state of positive peace, but we are also the bobblehead, right? We've got the human experience, we've got the awareness, and then we have the eternal nature. Mm-hmm. We have all three of them, and we're trying to navigate this like psychopath, basically. Like, oh my God, which one am I?
That's how it does feel like crazy making in those moments, and I like feel like I'm like losing my grip, and then I'm like, oh, why am I losing my grip?
And then law of attraction makes that even worse.
And then I say that to myself. I'm like, I created this reality. All right,
beautiful. All right, all of that down. Okay, so is it okay to create a chaotic reality at times when I have two little kids?
Yeah, there's beauty in the chaos.
How can I find and appreciate that beauty even when I'm feeling bad?
You don't have to.
Oh, I don't have to sit there and look at the rose-colored glasses while I'm feeling like I'm sitting in the mud?
No, it's allowed.
Do I have to stay in it as long as I do?
No, and you don't need to judge yourself when you do.
Yeah, judging just keeps you in the mud. It's just a different flavor of mud.
It's your mud, not their mud.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm allowed to have emotions, even the lower end of the scale ones, when it comes to my kids.
When it comes to everything.
Ooh, good. So how can I model to them in the best way possible? Because also I want to be a great role model for them. How do I navigate difficult emotions for myself in a way that'll support them?
Breathe. Let them be. Let yourself be together. Now my brain's like, that's like a poem.
My inner voice sometimes starts rhyming and like almost like to a rap. I'm like, how does it keep coming up with these words that keep
Yeah.
into it? All right.
Okay.
So how are you feeling now? Where's the
Good.
resistance in the mind? Where we start? What level did we start at? A level 4 out of 10? Or 5,
Sure,
6?
four sounds good.
Okay. Where are you now?
2.
2. Where's the 2? Where's the resistance there in the mind?
Sitting here with you. Like,
That's the
just,
resistance.
I don't know. It's just like a lot to like.
And all you can do is breathe.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. I don't know.
So there's no more resistance if you project your thoughts to the
I think
children
about
and the kids.
that. Just like the wanting to know what to do and how to be and what to say and to be right for them. That's, yeah.
How can I be right for them?
I heard you don't, they chose you.
So they got into this mess on their
Yeah.
own accord.
What?
It's kind of nice, right? They picked me.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're here, but they picked me. It's kind of freeing, right?
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Like, whatever kid I get, like, they picked me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that liberating?
Yes, and I know that, again, when I'm like in my coffee shop, like a Zen mode, I'm like, yeah, we all signed up for this together.
And then you get to go, we all signed up for this together.
No. Yeah. And maybe.
And breathe.
Yeah.
That mosquitoes out. You just like that breathing, that.
Yeah.
I start like almost whistling sometimes when I'm really kind of out of my mind. It's like this, like.
So the thing I'm wondering is, do I even need to access that in those moments? You can. It's a choice. But like, I don't feel like it's a choice.
How is it a choice if I don't feel like there is one?
It's there when you need it. You don't always need it.
So it's always going to be perfect.
No. Well,
No, well, here's what I've realized. So I had a moment meditating, and I had these several deep meditations, and the first one was euphoric, and I was like, oh my God, this is like set the bar for every meditation that I would do like that ever again. And then like on the fourth one I was doing, I was like, this is not, I was judging the level and experience of my meditation and insights from the first one. Mm-hmm. And it occurred to me in that meditation was giving me exactly what I needed at that point in time. There was nothing wrong with this fourth one because it didn't look like the first one. Mm-hmm. So some days you're gonna get that Zen place and you're gonna laugh and watch them have their antics, and other days you're gonna be just as upset as they are.
Them.
And that doesn't mean there's anything less wrong or more wrong or different. It's just the perfect moment for that moment. Mm-hmm. Allowing that'll cut the tension of the judgment, because that other internal pressure, because you have the external pressure of the kid, that's stress on the external, but the internal judgment after is what holds it on and keeps that aftertaste in your mouth. Mm-hmm. It's like sitting when I was little. I'll give one last before we wrap up. One last one. This is the metaphor that's coming to mind. I didn't like Brussels sprouts when I was little. My mom made me eat a Brussels sprout, at least one, on my plate when she'd have them, and they were gross. They were stewed in butter. Sorry, Mom, they were gross. And they were stewed in butter, and I just hated them. But I was a little kid and didn't know how to get through that as easily as possible. Mm-hmm. So my little kid logic was, I'm gonna put the Brussels sprout in the back. I thought that your stomach tasted things. I didn't know it was on your tongue. So I thought, I'm gonna take the smallest one, but that was good. That's the only logical thing I got right. The rest I put it on my back of my mouth, and I let it sit there until it disintegrated. Because I thought I would taste it when it was in my stomach. Obviously, that's like the worst thing. If I just gulped it down without even like just swallowed it like a pill, that would have been better. But I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So when you judge yourself, it's like literally letting that negative experience, instead of just getting through it and going, yeah, that was crappy, but it's gone now. Yeah. It's sitting with it disintegrating on your tongue, on the taste buds. Like, it's the worst way. It's just going to continue it longer. Mm-hmm. So logically, that you think that by judging yourself, you're going to get somewhere. But ironically and conversely, it's actually the opposite.
So that's interesting, because there's like being present, and then there's also like letting things flow through you.
Which is real presence. Like,
Right.
it's gone now. When I was
Yeah.
sitting on the tongue, the metaphor would be like sitting there stewing, going, why was I such a bad parent?
Like ruminating
2 hours
and-
ago. And
yeah.
it's like, why are you still sitting with that? There's many other Buddhist analogies, but I like the Brussels sprouts. Just think about that. Are you just stewing on your
Yeah.
gross, disintegrating Brussels sprouts? Yeah.
All right, so we have time for 2 quick realizations or questions you can ask Kayleen or Jess in regard to what we just had.
So I don't have kids, but when you said they chose you, it's the same thing with our parents. We, seeing that conversely, that we chose the experience we had. That was very deep and really resonated. So thank you for sharing that.
So I have a young daughter, and I feel a lot of anxiousness in the mornings, like getting ready and getting out the door. And what I found interesting, this is like happens to many women, I recently went through a miscarriage. And through that, I actually just fully felt every emotion along that journey. And it really flowed through me, and I relied on that. And what's interesting is that I'm having that resistance in the mornings. And so this has helped me realize, like, what was different in that experience, and maybe because it was defined and I prepared myself to go through that. But what I'm taking back is how to just be and not rely on what it should be, but just what's happening at that moment.
Did you have a realization while watching? We want to hear about it. Please send us a message at realizations@jesslively.com. May something wonderful happen to you today.